Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head back to the Czech Republic, so it's my first Czech beer review for you in quite a long time actually. But this beer is actually known by 3 different names. The brewery has 3 different names, so you have Budweiser Budvar, you have Czechvar, which is mainly America I believe, and you also have České Budějovice. And the Budweiser Budvar and the Czechvar versions are known as the dark basically, and the České Budějovice version is known as Tmavý Ležák, I believe they would call it. Apologies if my Czech pronunciations aren't quite right, but I'll explain to you in a minute why the beer has all of these different names. And I've tried this one before and I know it's a nice beer, so I'm looking forward to finally reviewing it for you, and hopefully I can get some more Czech beers to review for you at some time too, because the Czechs produce some really nice stuff, so hopefully this is the first of a few Czech beers that I'll be able to review for you. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews, then I'll take you through a little bit of a history of the brewery itself. Here it will only be a minute or 2 long. I'll be talking a little bit about the Budweiser the trademark dispute if you like, so I'll tell you a little bit about that. But if you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. The brewery website's in the video description for you below. There's a translated version into English from Czech as well, so do check that out, and I'll also put a link down below to my Facebook page for the channel and also my Untappd profile, so feel free to add me as a friend on Untappd, and there's also a link there to my other Budweiser Budvar review, so do check out that as well. But anyway, to tell you about this brewery itself, as I told you, this beer is brewed in the city of České Budějovice in southern Bohemia. I believe the city is called Budweis in its German name, and this kind of eastern sort of extremity of the Czech Republic, of course, used to be German, and I think it was after the Second World War that it officially became part of the Czech Republic. It was after the First World War, Czech Republic was created, and these 2 areas were German speaking, and then after the Second World War the Germans took it back, and then after the Second World War it was chopped off and officially given to Czechoslovakia at that point in history. But the city of České Budějovice is in southern Bohemia, like I told you, and the Czech Republic has a history of brewing going back until the 13th century, and this was actually when the city of České Budějovice was granted brewing rights. But the Budweiser trademark is one of the most kind of long-standing, if you like. It involves 3 different breweries. So you have the Budweiser Beer Bürgerbräu, which was founded in 1795. This was the German-speaking brewery from Budweis, and it acquired the naming rights after the fall of communism once again in the year 1990. There's Budweiser, which is the American one, which was formed in 1876. It's now owned by Anheuser-Busch, and there's the Budweiser Budvar brewery, which was founded in the year 1895, and this was founded by Czech citizens of Budweis, and it was a state-owned operation. So Budweiser is actually the German way of referring to something from this city, while Budějovice means the same in Czech actually. So Budweiser, Budweis, that means that it's the German version of saying that something is from this particular region. Budějovice is the way to say it in Czech, and this is what actually led to the Budweiser trademark dispute. So this particular beer actually has 3 names, as I told you. It's known as Budweiser Budvar in the EU and in some other parts of the world as well. It's known as Czechvar in the US and Canada, and it's known as Budějovice Budvar in other countries such as Australia and New Zealand as well. But because of the disputes, the American Budvar is labelled as Bud in all EU markets except for Ireland and the United Kingdom, where it has the name Budweiser. But the EU recognises Budějovice Budvar as a product with protected geographical indication, and this means that the name Budweiser can only be used commercially for products from that specific region. It's almost the same idea as with Scotch whisky, for example. You can only spell whisky as Whisky if it's from Scotland. If it's from anywhere else, it has to be Whiskey. So it can only be determined as Scotch whisky if it's Scottish, or if it's from anywhere else, it has to be Whiskey. Just a little fact for you, but the EU is quite protective of nations' kind of heritage products, if that makes sense. It's quite an interesting part of EU law actually, but this means that Budweiser can only be used commercially for products within the EU from this specific region. But in early 2007, Anheuser-Busch and Budvar reached an agreement that stated Anheuser-Busch would actually market Budvar or Czechvar in the United States and several other countries for an undisclosed fee. This, however, didn't affect the lawsuits, and Anheuser-Busch tried to register Budweiser as a community trademark in 2009, and this was rejected, and it was also rejected by another appeal in 2010. So the situation still stands. In America, this beer is called Czechvar. It's called Budweiser you have the American beers are called Budweiser in America, obviously, and this is called Czechvar. In Europe, American Budweiser is called Bud. This is Budweiser Budvar in Europe, and in Australia and New Zealand it uses the Czech name České Budějovice as well. So it's quite a complicated thing with all the names here. But what's really interesting though is that the original Budweiser brewery, the German-speaking brewery from Budweiser, is actually now called 1795 Original Czech Lager. They've dropped the whole Budweiser name, or their claim to the Budweiser name, totally, and it's now essentially between these two newer breweries, the American one that came along in 1876 and then the Czech one that came along in 1895. So the brewery that would probably most rightly have the biggest claim to this name has dropped out of the race. So it's quite funny in that regard that these two newer companies are still fighting over it, but I think in the EU it's not likely to change anytime soon, because they do like to protect countries' heritage products, if that makes sense, as I explained. But anyway, let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. I'm looking forward to finally reviewing this one for you. I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little quick look at the artwork on this one. So this guy is a 4.7% Tmavý beer, and this is just the Czech way of describing a Dunkel beer essentially. It's very similar to a German Dunkel beer, but Tmavý of course is how you say it in Czech. So just to bring it up and let you have a little quick look at the artwork on it, you can see, I think this is the Budweiser or Budějovice, České Budějovice city crest that's on the label here. And as you can see, it tells you on the back as well, it's a protected geographical indication, so you can see that on the back of the bottle here, just at the top, and you can see this the Budějovice city crest again on top, and it's got that nice foil cap, and the Czechs actually quite like to use this on their beer as well, and you see it on some German exports too. But this is the Budweiser Budvar imported dark lager, also known as Czechvar dark, and also České Budějovice Tmavý Ležák as well. So let's get stuck into this guy. It's a 4.7% Dunkel beer, or Tmavý beer as they would call it in the Czech Republic. So we'll just get stuck into this and open it up. So I'll just slice this kind of foil cap that's on this and we'll get it open. As you can see though, nice, slightly smoky open. It's a green bottle actually, I didn't realise that, I thought it was a brown bottle, but we'll get this out and into the glass. I tried this beer on tap actually, and it really is quite nice. The Czechs produce some really awesome beers, but it's quite hard to get a hold of some of them. I really need to take a trip to the Czech Republic and try some of their other beers too, because the ones I had in Germany were really nice. So hopefully I can get over there and try a few more of their different beers. They should be really nice. But as you can see, I'll just bring up the light and let you see the exact colour of this beer. Just bring the camera up as well. So as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice kind of dark rosewoody mahogany colour. It's got a bit of a ruby edge to it. It's almost kind of similar in appearance to Coca-Cola actually, but you've got a nice half finger of a frothy kind of beigey coloured head on this one. Looks really nice. If I put my fingers behind it, it's not transparent at all, probably mainly due to the colour, but there are some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass here, but quite a few smaller ones going up towards the bottom of the head, so it looks a really quite nice and quite attractive beer actually. So let's give it a smell and see how we get on here. Smells really quite nice actually. You've got a nice big roasted caramel presence in this one. Smells like a typical Dunkel beer, or I'm sure the Tmavý beers smell quite similar. Again, my apologies if I'm pronouncing these Czech words wrong. A very difficult language to pronounce if you're doing it without being a natural speaker or being educated in it, of course. But you've got a nice sweet malty aroma with this beer, some nice sweet caramel and a bit of nutty character and woody note in there as well. And there is a big kind of underlying breadiness and some cereal grainy characters too. Some toasted notes. And there is perhaps just a little bit of red fruit just on top of that, but very mild, a little bit of red fruity esters. You can almost pick up just a little bit of coffee in here too, just a very little bit. I've spilt a little bit on myself there. But yeah, nice big malt forward beer this. Some nice caramel, a bit of woody and nutty notes in there too. A little bit of roasted coffee I would say, and some nice bready character just underlying it. And there is some kind of graininess in there too, and a little bit of red fruits. But without further ado, let's get stuck into this guy. So this is the Budweiser Budvar or Czechvar Dark, and it's also known as České Budějovice Tmavý Ležák. So slange. Really nice actually. As you'd expect, actually a good bit of roasted character coming out of this. It does have a nice dark presence on the tongue there. Yeah. So much like the aroma, you've got a nice, slightly dark but quite sweet malt base in there. You just get a blanket over the middle of your palate with a kind of nice bready characteristic. It's almost a little bit like a kind of German rye bread flavour that you get just across the middle of your palate there. It just blankets the middle part of your mouth really quite nicely. But on top of that, there's a nice sweet caramelly, slightly biscuity graininess that just goes down the middle of your tongue there. So a nice sweet malty part right in the middle of your palate. Some cereal dryness builds up around that, and there's a bit of earthy hop character. I'm betting there's Czech Sats hop in this actually. There probably is quite a few varieties of Czech hop in this beer, but it still has that kind of noble noble characteristic about it. You still get this kind of German noble character about these Czech hops. So there's a little bit of earthy character in the very back corners of your palate, and as you move forward in the beer, it becomes a little bit more smooth and grassy, but there's a big earthy hop presence in this beer, and you'll notice that at the back sides of your palate. Really quite interesting. But yeah, there's a nice infused malt base on this one, a little bit of nutty and woody flavour in there on top of that kind of rye bread malt base. Bit of caramelly and biscuity sweetness just going down the middle of the tongue. But there's a little bit of cereal in there and some nice sweet bready character and a little bit of fruit and a bit of grassy hop in this beer too. It's really quite nice actually, just how everything blends together. As I say, a nice earthy hop in the back corners of your tongue. It spreads forward a little bit and becomes a more smoothie, grassy character. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this beer. Just pay a little bit of attention to it and you can pick up the different aspects of the flavour. And there is a little bit of a darker roasted coffee element just builds up in the middle of the palate too, but a nice German rye bread malt base to it, bit of caramel sweetness down the middle of the palate, some nice cereal characters on top of it, and there's a bit of woody or nutty flavours just blended into that, and you can just feel that lingering slightly roasted bitterness on the middle of the palate. Really, really nice beer this. I have to compliment them on how they've done it. Really is quite nice. I'd happily drink this if I went over to the Czech Republic, and hopefully, like I say, I can review a few more beers from them in the future. In terms of the mouthfeel, you've got a nice kind of light to mid-bodied mouthfeel on this one, a smooth carbonation. At the same time, the beer is actually quite sessionable. It's quite a light and quite sessionable Dunkel beer. But you've got a nice sweet malty character, and there is just a little bit of a hoppy dryness to it, and you are getting a bit of dry kind of roasty bitter character from a more coffee side of the flavour of the beer. So really quite nicely done actually. I have to say that about this beer. I would happily go and session a few of these in Prague or in Budějovice or something like that, or Brno, or wherever I would go. I really want to go to the Czech Republic at some point, so I'm sure I'll find some other Czech beers to review for you in the future. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. It's been really cool to do another Czech beer after so long. I do have another one which I believe is called Bretsnack, which I'll review for you in the fairly near future, so keep an eye out for that one. That'll appear within the next few months actually. I brought that beer back with me from Germany, but as I say, hopefully I can get across to the Czech Republic and visit Prague and a few other places in the country. It's supposed to be a very, very nice place with quite friendly people, so I'm sure I will get over there at some point to visit it fairly soon. But I thank you for watching my beer reviews. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, let me know in the comments section below your own thoughts on this beer if you do happen to have tried it before. Always interesting to read them. Until my next beer review, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. To the people from the Czech Republic who are watching this, please do let me know some other of your beers to have a look at. I will try and do them if I get over to the Czech Republic. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you soon with my next beer review. Until then, slàinte for now.